Welcome back to the Relaxing Ghost channel here on YouTube. As always, your host with the most, Ghost. And today we have the 2006 WWE DVD collection. This will be, of course, the non-pay-per-view collection. So all the documentaries and match compilations that were released throughout 2006. Really fun year for DVDs here. This is one of my favorite years looking back at it. Some great releases. Let's get into this with 20 Years Too Soon, the Superstar Billy Graham story. So this was WWE's first documentary of the year, Superstar Billy Graham, 20 Years Too Soon. Only a one-disc set, but going forward, we got a lot of 2 and a lot of 3-disc sets here. Almost pretty much all of them are 3-disc sets. So I personally enjoy this DVD. I know a lot of people don't like Billy Graham. He's a very controversial figure. Always has something to say, does Billy. But this one really runs down his run here in the mid-70s as WWF Heavyweight Champion. And, you know, his feud with Dusty Rhodes. Love that feud. We got only one of the matches here. We got the Texas Death Match versus Dusty in Madison Square Garden. And you got matches with Bruno and Backlund. A few of his promos. Decent DVD overall. I always thought they could have done a little bit more with him. Next up, we got Bloodsport. This would be I believe the first DVD other than the Rise and Fall for ECW. You know, so this is a 2-disc set, and this features 19 matches. Some of the most brutal stuff in ECW history. And this was one I also had back in the day. I don't think I mentioned that too many times, but, you know, from 1994 all the way through 2005, they do include a one-night stand match on here, but they go all the way to Guilty as Charged 2001, Tommy Dreamer versus C.W. Anderson. Really good stuff here. I always remember that Taipei death match between Ian and Axel Rotten. The Mexican death match. Mysterio versus Psicosis. And then you got, you know, Tommy Dreamer versus Brian Lee. RVD versus Sabu. The barbed wire match. Sabu and Terry Funk. Taz and Bam Bam Bigelow. This is a really good DVD set. Fairly underrated as well. You don't hear a lot of people talk about that anymore. Then we would get the final Divas DVD in this 2006. Divas Do New York. This is the lingerie edition. I believe this is the only edition. So this is kind of a pet peeve of mine where they put collector's edition or this edition when it's the only edition. I know they did that with a WrestleMania a while ago, or a Brock Lesnar DVD comes to mind. But again, one disc set. It's pretty much your standard Divas DVD. You know, just them in New York doing their photo shoots and whatnot, and then a lot of extras. We have highlights from the 2005 Raw Diva Search. We have John Cena and Maria. Lita talking smack on Matt Hardy. And several extras matches and whatnot. So we are definitely in the Divas era at this point in time, 2006. And next up, one of the rarest DVDs of all time, Raw Homecoming, was released in 2006. So when you bought WrestleMania 20, it came packaged like this, and you would get a free Raw Homecoming DVD attached. They are still sealed in the cling wrap, in the security devices enclosed. So there's your Raw Homecoming spine. This is my most prized possession, probably, other than like the few of the autographs I have. But Raw Homecoming, this was pretty big for WWE, going back to the USA Network in 2005, and they released the DVD here. One of the cheaper DVDs of the year came with DX. This was a re-release from a VHS tape they did in like 98, but they did include some extra matches on here, which are pretty cool. You got Shawn Michaels and Mankind, Triple H versus Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels versus Triple H, Shawn Michaels versus Owen, the casket match from the Rumble, Triple H versus Owen Hart on Raw. Pretty cool, but you know, it is fairly censored from what the VHS was, the almost a decade prior to that. Next up, one of my personal favorites, the Dusty Rhodes story. So sadly, it doesn't talk anymore. When I got it, it was already dead, but you know, this is a beautiful set, and I'm happy I have this finally. You know, I had the standard DVD case one for so long, but I wish they did a few more DVDs like this just to see the beautiful packaging. You know, awesome documentary, tons and tons of matches. I mean, you got over a dozen interviews, you got 15 or so matches from WWE, WCW, ECW, AWA, Championship Wrestling from Florida, and then more than 3 dozen of Dusty's famous interviews. So you got, you know, a lot of interviews. If you look through the chapters, it goes promos, and then disc 2 and 3 are a lot of promos, matches and matches. They broke this thing down in a weird way. And then you got here more promos and all the vignettes there when he debuted on WWE in '89. And they include, you know, the top matches from his WWE run, from SummerSlam '89, Survivor Series '89, WrestleMania 6, matches from Madison Square Garden. And that was pretty much it with his WWE run. Dusty Rhodes, I'll definitely have to re-review that. Excuse me. Because that is an awesome DVD. It's not going to stand up. So next up, Greatest Wrestling Managers. I always liked this DVD, but I think it's only a 1 disc. You know, they definitely didn't put much effort into this, especially when you see DVDs like Dusty Rhodes and some of the other ones we're going to get to. This definitely should have been 3 discs. Considering they did, you know, the Greatest Stars of the 80s the year prior, I think this one should have been a 3 disc. You know, you got all these managers. You could have spread this out across 3 discs, and then, you know, give a couple of matches or moments from each manager. But I still enjoy this for what it is. I don't think Sonny deserves to be on this. But other than that, you got some of the best managers of all time. Jimmy Hart, Elizabeth, Classy Freddie Blassie, Heyman and Cornette, Paul Bearer, Captain Louis Albano, Bobby Heenan, and Sensational Sherry. Now we're getting into the heavy hitters with McMahon. 2-disc collector's edition. This is what I mean when there's only a 2-disc out there, so there's really nothing collectors about it. I love the 2-disc digipack. I wish they did more of them. Sadly, there's only a handful of them, but a fairly good documentary on Vince McMahon. And then you got 4 hours of extras with 9 matches. You know, McMahon never had the best matches, but they're always entertaining. Then this is when the year where these started, the history of the WWE title. Fantastic set and a good way to kickstart these series. I love the digibook format. Tons and tons of great matches from Ivan Koloff and Pedro Morales, Bruno and Killer Kowalski, all the way to Macho Man and Hogan, WrestleMania 5. You got Hogan and Andre twice, the main event and WrestleMania 3. Then you got the 90s with Hogan and Warrior, Bret and Owen, Bret and Shawn, Austin and Michaels. And then kind of the 2000s with Triple H and Cactus Jack, Austin Jericho, Vengeance 2002, SummerSlam, Angle and Benoit. This is a really good DVD set. Next up, another one of my favorites, Brian Pillman, Loose Cannon. You know, 2-disc set. I compare this to the Mr. Perfect DVD. And this is where they really started using these WWE Legends logo quite a bit around this time. They might have had it on, yeah, they had it on these DVDs as well. I forgot to show it, but I think they were really pushing for something with this. Sadly, it never really came to anything. They also got it on Billy's. So the WWE Legends thing, I think they were kind of trying to make their own kind of division here with the Legends. Just kind of make it mean a bit more. They did also have it on a few DVDs the year prior, which I think I forgot to mention, but they were giving out a lot of Legends deals, I think, at this time. And I love that logo. You know, here we got a pretty awesome documentary with more than 15 matches. Some great matches here from Pillman and Austin. Pillman versus Guerrero. We got that awesome 10-man tag from the Canadian Stampede in your house. And then Brian Pillman, Jushin Thunder Liger. Pillman was a hell of an athlete. And then we get into the Hulk Hogan sets, the Ultimate Anthology. There is another variant out there. So the first they released just a 3-disc set. These were, I believe, were all released the same day. And then I believe one was a Best Buy, one was a Walmart exclusive or a FYE exclusive where they put the 4th disc in there. This one has matches. And another set has Hogan Knows Best on it. So that was really cool. Whether they were Best Buy or FYE exclusives or something like that. And then we got Roddy Piper. This is the 4-disc set. And again, you could see the Legends logo. So they did eventually release a Legends tin, I believe, with Jake the Snake, Bret Hart, and I can't remember who else, but might have been Billy Graham or Hulk Hogan or something like that. They released a couple of those tins, so maybe that's why they did it, but I read something about that before. I can't remember off the top, but this was a Circuit City exclusive, this Roddy Piper 4-disc set. Sadly, it only has about 11 minutes on the bonus disc. If I can get to it quickly. Yeah, 11 and a half minutes for a bonus disc. And this thing is really rare. You don't see many people with it. I do have the 3-disc, but it's in such horrible shape. I've never really reviewed it. So I think I have reviewed the 4-disc on its own. So that was really cool. awesome documentary on Roddy Piper. Tons of matches and promos. You got a disc just dedicated to Piper's Pit. That's how cool this is. And with the Hogan anthology, this is like all of Hogan's greatest matches from 1980 all the way through, you know, the first 5 or 6 WrestleManias. You got the formation of the NWO, Starrcade 97, returning to WWE, even got a rare XWF match. You got some stuff from WrestleMania 18, the Hall of Fame 2005. They released a lot of rare sets in this year. From Raw Homecoming, Hogan, Piper. And then the AWA, Spectacular Legacy of the AWA. This is one of the rare DVDs to actually have the Legends logo on the home video logo. Not sure why, but like I said, it's like they were trying to start their own little thing here. This is one of my favorite documentaries. And the match selection is limited. I wish they would do another AWA DVD. You got Hogan and Bockwinkel, LOD versus Crusher, Larry, and Kurt Hennig. Different AWA title matches. Really fun DVD. I always love going back and checking this out. You got Young, Shawn and Marty, Mean Gene, Bobby Heenan, Ric Flair, Sergeant Slaughter. Look how young Bobby Heenan looks. And Kurt Hennig. It's a really fun DVD. You know, the AWA and the world-class DVDs are just awesome. And 2 more here. WWE Studios was launched, and they released See No Evil. This is one of the first Blu-rays they released. Oh yeah, 2006. So a lot of people love this movie. I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever seen it. And I do own it. And finally, Kane's Journey to Hell. I do have this sealed still, so that'll remain sealed. It's only got like 5 matches on it, so there you go. But this was also a FYE exclusive. So, like I said, a lot of rare DVDs in this year. So there we have it, the 2006 non-pay-per-view collection. Let me know some of your favorites. As always, we'll talk to you later. Peace.